GenCon 2024 is coming up, and if you've never been before and this is your first time, we are going to talk about some of the things that you may want to take and some of the things you may want to leave at home when you go to GenCon.
I'm going to correct that. There are things you definitely want to take. Things I need you to leave at home. But hey, if you're going to GenCon, you're going to run into us. We'll be there. We look like this.
Yep, we'll
Always.
look like this. We'll be walking in this same order.
Yeah.
To
the whole time.
3 next to each other.
The whole time.
I don't want to be seen in public with you guys.
I wouldn't want to either, and yet here we are.
Actually, Jason's going to have like this strap around his shoulder, and this table he's be carrying that with us. So, it's like instant gaming. We'll just walk up to you, sit down, and then we'll play, and then move on.
So,
So bring your table. That's the first thing. Bring your own gaming
Bring
table.
your own table.
The bigger, the better.
BYOT.
Yeah. BYOT.
So first thing to know, bring a backpack with you. Bring a bag to carry things. Small things that you're going to need to go with you. They do allow bags here. You might be subjected to a security check. But for the most part, you can bring a bag. A small backpack is what I carry with me. I carry it all day. Just make sure it's comfortable on your back, and you're probably good to go there.
So you want to bring a backpack to carry your stuff.
Yeah.
And inside that backpack, you're going to want some of the essentials, hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
And maybe like some snacks, some protein bars, because when you go for lunch, pretty much there's a whole bunch of food trucks out there, which are great, awesome food trucks. But there's like a 1 hour line from like 10:30 till 3 o'clock.
Wow.
So maybe not that big, but it's like it's a very big, long lunch time that is full there.
I always make sure I have some emergency snacks because you don't know when you're going to be sitting down to play something, and you might be in a long session and you might suddenly feel like you're dropping out and you need something.
Right.
So emergency snacks are a good idea. I bring like protein bars or like a granola bar or some kind of snack
Good to keep the
bar
blood
like
sugar up.
Right.
Yeah, something that's not going to deteriorate after being in your bag for 4 days.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Nutri-Grain
Sealed
bars
well.
will just be a pile of dust by the end of it.
You don't want to be hangry at GenCon. So, eat something, get in a good mood. Snacks are a must. At the same time, while we're talking about that, get yourself a water bottle to put in there, either refillable or just get yourself some water bottles from the grocery store where you're going to be drinking out all day. There are water refilling stations there, but I find for the most part, the water that comes out of them is not cold. It's more of a, slightly tepid.
Yeah.
Good word. I was going to say slightly below room temperature. So,
Right.
you don't have a lot of... There are places where you'll be able to buy drinks, but if you bring a drink with you, you're going to save yourself a couple of bucks and you can refill that drink. And again, you want it on hand for when you just can't get away to something else, for sure. One thing I did want to say in regards to backpacks before we moved on for it, if you are carrying a backpack, just be conscious where the backpack is swinging around. There's a lot of people at GenCon, and if you're not paying attention to that backpack, you can hit people, and especially if there's small kids there, you're going to hit some kid, and you're going to feel bad about yourself. GenCon is not going to feel bad about yourself. And this segues nicely into, if you've got a board game backpack that's 3 times as large as you are, come on, have some common sense. Be aware of it, don't whack people with it, and try not to carry it out on the show floor where it's just too much, guys. And so be careful with it, and if you're bringing it, be conscious of it.
There's a good chance that I know that most people watching this are... they're old enough to have been out in the world and been in places.
You've been in public, right?
There's a good chance that people watch this may not have been in such tight crowds as there are at GenCon.
Yeah.
You could be 45 years old and have been to football games and concerts, and all this stuff, but you still might not have been in a place that's as densely packed as GenCon. So that's no joke with the backpack, especially the huge board game backpacks where you're out in the exhibitors hall where you turn and you just you're knocking someone out.
You guys are kind of scaring me.
Yeah, Bob's never gone.
This will be my first time.
His first time. There's 70,000 people at GenCon.
Yeah,
it's
good size.
It's large enough. I make this joke all the time. It is so large that they actually use Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Indianapolis Colts play, as an auxiliary building. This is just a place we're going to overflow to. So
Yeah, that's a lot of overflow.
right. Moving on from that, since you are going to be in close contact with many people, you definitely don't want to have deodorant. It's common sense. I'm not trying to be gross.
And
or
that's
funny.
in the official GenCon.
Yeah,
it really
the
is.
GenCon tips that they send out for people.
Yeah.
They find that they have to mention it.
Right.
So since they find that they have to mention it, we feel that we should probably mention it.
Right. So, and again, not trying to be gross or funny. This is human anatomy 101 here, biology 101. Bring something, so you're kind to your fellow gamers. At the same time, bring bubble gum, something minty, spearmint. You're gonna be there all day, popping a piece of gum. And I do a thing that everybody laughs at me, but I do this all the time. I call it bubble gum diplomacy. I sit down at a gaming table and I put my pack of gum out on a table. I take a piece for myself and then I offer it to those around me. Not that I think you need it, but because when I offer it, we are now conversing. It's an icebreaker. We're now talking, and bubblegum diplomacy.
I do the same thing with candy, because if you offer someone a candy, they immediately don't think, "Oh, does my breath stink?" But when you offer someone a mint or like gum, I find that a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, you're fine."
If it was candy, I'd eat it all myself.
But let's look at the comparisons between the two.
Yeah.
Pleasant man offers you a stick of gum. Creepy dude offers you candy to get in his van.
Bring your van, but leave the windows at home.
Leave the chloroform at home.
Something else that you should probably have in that backpack. We mentioned hand sanitizer. The first time I went to GenCon was right after COVID, and I was amazed at how clean and well stocked all the restrooms were, and everything. But then subsequent GenCons, it's not.
Not so much.
Yeah, if you go into the restroom after 2:00, there might not be soap, there might not be hand towels, and there might not be toilet paper. So
What
you
were
might
the crowds like right after COVID? Has they
I think the crowds were a little bit
increased?
less also.
Okay.
So you might want to put like a pack of Kleenex. I'm not saying bring 5 rolls of toilet paper and stick in your backpack, but you might want to bring like a little pack of Kleenex, so you
Wet
just have it
wipes.
just in case you get into the restroom and it's not been restocked, and it probably won't be until tomorrow morning.
A thing you're definitely going to need, download the GenCon app. The GenCon app, at minimum, has a map on it, and you're going to be able to find your way much easier to where you need to go using that map. I've found it useful from time to time for nothing but that map. The map helps you get around. And since you're going to be using the app anyway, bring a way to charge your phone. An external battery would be most helpful. I don't think there's a lot of places where you're going to be able to plug in, but an external battery, so you can go ahead and plug your phone into that and
Keep it charged.
Again, 70,000 people. Do you think there are 70,000 power outlets there? No. It's not going to be cool when you're fighting people over charging space. Not okay. So yeah, bring a way to take care of that.
Something I always throw in that backpack is like a lightweight long sleeve T-shirt. Different people have different temperature levels. Jason's usually always warm. I'm generally kind of cool. So, the rooms are the HVAC in the convention center is pretty good. I think it's pretty comfortable in there. But you might want to just have like a, end of the day, if you're in a room that might be kind of cold, you can put on a long sleeve tee or something like that.
You're never sitting directly under an AC vent like I'm at work all the time.
You might be in some. You might be in some places.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's 20 feet up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's move on to some things you shouldn't do. At
Okay. Well, I just want to mention comfortable shoes.
Oh, comfortable
Yeah,
shoes.
definitely.
And comfortable pants or shorts too, because you are going to be sitting for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And these are not lazy boys that you're sitting in.
I would say this. I came up with this last year. I have never been simultaneously sore from walking and sore from sitting at the same time.
Yeah.
And yet,
Yeah.
last Gen Con I'm like, I have walked too much and sit too much. I don't know how you resolve that. You just lay down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You need some nap stations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, people use them. They're just called hallways, and
Yeah, people will be off on the side just to
right.
chill.
Comfortable shoes, though, something for sure. You're gonna be walking a lot. Comfortable
Yeah.
shoes is so important. So important. As a matter of fact, I got to get myself a new pair of shoes and break them in before we go. So things that I'm going to say things that Gen Con allows you to do, but I don't want you to do them. The giant board game backpacks, you got to be conscious of what you're doing. You're in there with 70,000 people, and you swing around, and you don't realize it's back there. And I got one right in the jaw last year. Dude spun around with probably 40 pounds of board games. Probably had a too many bones and a Gloomhaven in there, and it's enough to take out your teeth. So if you're gonna do that, be conscious of what you're doing. I've seen people pulling wagons. It's like, wagon? Come on, man. Again, you're with 70,000 people. Plan this out. You're going to have to pay attention and watch. You're hitting people, and, it's not okay.
Do they allow strollers?
Strollers, yes. Strollers are okay.
Now, I have a child. I think we all have kids. And I think that the last thing I want to do is, come off as like some childless jerk who says, don't bring your strollers. But don't bring your stroller. Not only is it very difficult, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to maneuver, but I would never feel safe putting a child down in a stroller, down under everyone's line of sight, trying to maneuver through the crowd. Someone's going to kick it or trip over it or fall into it. So I would be very, very hesitant to bring a stroller through. I think
baby
the little
Bjorns.
Yeah.
I've got 3 kids too now. They're all older, but I think of I'm a selfish guy. I think of myself. If you hit me in the ankle with a stroller and I fall back and land on your kid, I'm gonna feel terrible about this, and you don't want that to happen. So again, watch it. It's allowed, but I struggle to think if it's appropriate.
And I would say that if you're going to be at Lucas Oil Stadium, for one thing, it's going to be difficult to get it up and down the steps. But there, it's not as dense. And if you're in the gaming area,
hall.
Gaming hall where you're playing games, it's not as dense. I think we're specifically talking about, with the backpacks and the strollers. If you're in the vendor area, it's crazy in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's, again, I don't want to step on somebody's kid.
Yeah.
I really don't. So let's just be conscious of it. That's all I can say about that.
Another thing to leave behind, we said bring comfortable shoes. Leave your track shoes at home. Go ahead, leave your track shoes at home. There's always the people that, think they have the Terminator sensors and they can pick that line and they can run as fast as possible and, weave through. No, it doesn't work. I've just seen too many wipeouts and too many people, slamming into people. And it's usually the innocent bystander who just gets, side-checked, by someone who thinks that, thinks they're Top Gun, weaving in and out of everyone. Come on.
Sounds like you should come with a lot of patience.
That's exactly what I was just about to cap this off with. The most important thing to bring is patience and a proper attitude.
Yes.
Everyone is there for the same reason. Everyone is there to have a good time. And if we all do the right things there, we'll all have a good time. So pack wisely, bring your things.
A couple of other things you should probably not bring before we wrap up.
More things.
Yeah, we talked about them before. We just haven't gotten to them. Also, and this applies more for the exhibitor area. One thing I love about GenCon is the awesome cosplay that you see there. I'm not a cosplayer. I don't have those skills, but I love to see how elaborate people get, with their cosplay, and they really get into it.
We are dressed as middle-class office drones.
Yeah, that's it. But we have seen some people in the exhibitor hall where, their fairy costume is great, but their 5-foot wingspan that they're wearing on their backs, that is just a ridiculous place to wear that, because unless those things are made of of steel.
Real feathers.
But even,
Or something, they're going to get destroyed, and
Yeah.
people are going to they're trying to be nice, they're trying to get out of the way, as you're walking and turning, and that's, causing a swath of inconvenience for
I
people
want to
as
see
you
somebody
walk
in a
through.
Hulkbuster suit.
I've seen it.
So leave the wings somewhere else if you're walking through the exhibit hall. Leave the 8-foot jousting stick someplace when you're walking through the exhibit hall.
Those are all. I'm with you. People do some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it's where is it appropriate? In the vendor hall, it's just causing chaos. And I don't want to break your stuff, and you don't want your stuff to be broken. So we can get there together.
One thing that we saw talking about cosplay, and it's something that we've never seen before, and we don't know if this is going to catch on.
Oh,
But in
no,
case
don't
it's
tell
gonna-
them. Don't tell
Should I
them.
not even say it? Should I not even mention
No, he's already started.
it? Something that we saw that I thought was kind of cool is that someone has upped their cosplay. Last year we saw someone up their cosplay game to add another layer of sensory
Overload.
Assault.
No, sensory addition.
Overload.
They had their costume on, but they also had like a Bluetooth speaker clipped at their belt, and they were playing like their theme song as they walked through. And when we saw it, it was in an area that wasn't too dense. As they're walking by, they're like, whoa, what's that music? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's that person. Oh my gosh, that music fits their cosplay so well. But then as soon as they walked by, we immediately thought, next year when there's 1,000 people doing that, that is going to be horrible.
This is an acoustic assault.
Yeah, so if you must bring your own theme music to fit your costume, save it for the cosplay room, save it for the cosplay parade or the cosplay competition. Don't just wander around everywhere with
Blasting everyone.
Yeah. That's all that I can think of for what to bring and what not to bring.
I was already summing up.
I know. I just slipped those in there right
cutting
under the
you
wire.
off. I was
I had to
cutting you off.
Indiana Jones that, grab the hat. And
No, it wasn't under the wire. It was through the wire. So, but again, bring a proper attitude. Everybody's there to have fun. Everybody's there to have a good time. So let's all go have fun. Let's all have a good time. And if you see us there, say hello. Say hello.
Yeah. We'll hope to see you all at GenCon. So come up to us and say hi, and that'd be awesome. We'd love to meet you.
Other than that, like, subscribe. See you at GenCon.